during his address today over corona issues, the president has come out and supported the opposition leader and his friend in the handshake deal, Raila Odinga, over many issues, key among them, the standoff over the Kemsa scandal. First, the president has supported Raila Odinga on BBI and the review of the Constitution. He said, and I actually want to quote, "If our past is constantly at war with our present, we end up losing our future. And the spirit of this Constitution was meant to reconcile our past with the present in order to secure our future." 10 years later, he says, the moment to improve on it is now. That's the end of quote. Now, what that means is that the president is firmly in support of the BBI and his friend in the handshake, Right Honorable Raila Odinga. To support the BBI and review of the Constitution, the president also said that, I quote what he said, "But the crafters of the social contract also told us that the new Constitution was a work in progress, and as such, we were made to adapt it with the promise that in the future we shall make it even better." That is the end of quote. Essentially, what this means, friends and Kenyans, is that the president has, in principle, agreed with his friend Raila Odinga, who has argued before. In fact, 2 weeks ago, Raila Odinga argued that the referendum will be done soon. In fact, he put it that it will be before the next general election. Now, what that means is that we are going to see a push for the BBI process to be complete for a document before the next general election. In fact, the president says in Swahili that siasa zisikuwe za kubahatisha, yaani zile za pata potea, bali zenye kulete maendeleo na amani. That means he is stressing that politics must be development oriented. Remember, he has been bashing other people, including the deputy president indirectly, that they are engaged in politics instead of development, which he has associated himself with. That's the first thing. So in his address, the president was firmly in support of Raila Odinga, BBI, the handshake, and the referendum. In this address, secondly, it is important to note that the president, Uhuru Kenyatta, called the past constitution a ceasefire document. It is an agreement crafted to dodge confrontation and civil conflict. So, he has called the documents we have had before ceasefire document. Documents for a purpose, like we have had before. We remember here the 2007 post-election violence and other conflicts before in the nation. So he has cleverly put that in context. But he has called it in a summary what he calls a zero-sum game in which the winner takes it all. That this situation, including the current constitution, envisages a situation where we have a zero-sum game, where the winner takes it all. Remember, in the BBI document, in the relationship between Raila Odinga and Uhuru Kenyatta, they've been talking about inclusivity, about issues to bring all people together, where everybody feels included in the political process and running of the country. What it appears to me is that this shows in a short snapshot that the BBI document may entail what the president calls a unity document. It's actually a call to a constitutional order that will endure what he calls a future, or something which will endure the length of time, the history of time. So for many, this actually means expanding the executive, easing the tensions experienced before, what is now known as inclusivity, which actually Raila Odinga has been talking about, and ensuring that after elections, the tensions we have in the country, if that is what it is intended to do, is eased through the BBI process and the birth of a new constitution after 10 years of the 2010 constitution. What we know is that the BBI, if nothing has changed, had presented a situation where we have the president with executive authority who will be directly elected by the people of Kenya, with the loser in the elections directly nominated to parliament to take over as the official opposition. Secondly, a homegrown solution or inclusive system that comprises an executive headed by a popularly elected president and a robust, on the other side, or a robust structured opposition that holds the government into check. Remember, right now, we keep complaining that the opposition, which actually is headed by Raila Odinga, is nowhere. Nobody is there to check on the government and all that. Thirdly, allocation of money to the counties, an increment of at least 15% in the audited accounts to be between 35 and 50%. So at least 15%, but between 35 and 50% of those resources from the national government to the county. So, in short, so the first important import is that the president has supported the BBI, the handshake, and the resultant referendum before the next general election.
The moment calls us to create a constitutional order that will long endure and survive and not be a conflict-stopping constitution.
Secondly, on the Kemsa scandal, which is related to the COVID-19, and in reference to the public spat which we have seen between Honorable Raila Odinga and the Deputy President, Dr. William Ruto, the President was very clear in his address. He actually appeared to support Raila Odinga by announcing that he was giving relevant agencies, including the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission, including the Parliament and all that, to expedite the process of investigating the entire scandal in 21 days. And he actually further said that anyone who will be named and will be culpable will be brought to book.
The relevant agencies should expedite their ongoing investigations and conclude the same within 21 days from the date hereof.
And that is exactly what Raila Odinga has been saying in his statements and even his address to the nation, including an interview he had the other day with one of the local TV stations. So this declaration by the president leaves Dr. William Samoei Ruto alone, as it were, because originally we will see that they were engaged in a spat, public spat between himself and Deputy President, but now with the support of the president, then on this issue he remains alone because the president has taken the same position as Raila Odinga. And number two, it is not expected that he will actually revisit the issue, the Deputy President, perhaps in another way, because his boss, the president, has already spoken and he has already pronounced his position that investigative agencies must take that and do as in 21 days give the nation a report. Secondly, with all this, because he cannot, the deputy president cannot attack the president directly, and neither can he do so now to Raila Odinga on that issue, because it is already clear what the president has said, then it means several things. One, that the president is in full control of leadership, and that the BBI process will be concluded sooner than later than many people will think, whatever the outcome will be. Secondly, the president has completely ignored his deputy president. You know, remember we've been talking about that he has no role, he's not powerful, you know, but now we can see he has completely ignored him. He was not even with him today. Thirdly, that the handshake between Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila Odinga is unshakable and may dictate the way forward for the country in the coming days. And so essentially all these things mean that the deputy president must go back to the drawing board and re-strategize to ensure he remains relevant in the coming days, and as we plan, as the country plans to move towards the next general election, which is basically 2 years. We are talking as if it is actually tomorrow or next month. So the deputy president has looked for ways, other things to attack. Remember, he is still the deputy president of the Republic of Kenya, and he's supposedly supposed to be working in tandem with the president, which doesn't look to be quite in order, because the president, again, is working with the opposition leader in this. So as this continues, you know, coming out, and as the strategies continue working, the deputy president working on his 2022 succession plan to succeed the president, and the president working on BBI and the handshake with Raila Odinga, we will continue analyzing and telling you what is likely to happen from right here. Otherwise, until next week, it's bye for now.